the most with Eswatini Load from Google Play Store or App Store. We're good together.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Asinibusele sanamukela amasotla amahlelo omhlehlelweni Kusile Breakfast Show siyabonga ukuthi nikhethe kuvuka nathi lamhla ekseni sevele ishayile insimbi yesithupha lakushokona kucala kwalo hlelo ngakhona ke nokulibukela ka YouTube kanjalo nasecingweni lakho mangabe download Eswatini TV app siyabonga nje kakhulu ukuthi umdalo usiphepisile kwafika lilanga lanamuhla lokungilesine nje tilishumi nakuthathu enyangeni yemphala solo sikiyo inyanga ye breast and cervical cancer awareness labacela konje libelitiko letempilo kokuthi iseve samaswati sisukumele itulu indzaba yekuthi ihlolela letifo leti letimbili tamdlavuza ekakhulukati kulenyanga lena lesetulu lesikiyo. Even ke lase Uganda WHO yabika lokho ukuthi solo bayahluleka kulawula sifo seEbola lesibhedvukile kulomnyaka losetulu etinyangeni letimbala letendlulile. Imibiko ke yavela ukuthi sekushone abantu labalishumi nemfica 19 kanti kulabo ke kubikiwe ukuthi ama health officials noma ke bonesi nakhona labayi10 basithola lesifo kodwa ke sashiya emhlabeni ngolabane. Minister ke kulela live wetempilo uyaveta lokho ukuthi bodokotela nabonesi lasabaluleme kiso lesifo basihlanu. Levele yeKanda kalibese libita umhlangano lophuthumako etolo lofake ekhathi WHO kanye nama public health officials lasuka emaveni lasiphohlongo khona lapha eAfrica kubukiswana nje indlela ekuchubekela phambili kubukwa ukuthi ngabe vele mhlambe lesifo lesi singancobeka kanjani njengoba WHO avetile ukuthi ama vaccinations labanawo awasiko effective kulolu hlobo lwale Ebola lecubeka kweveni lase Uganda kanti ke sitani bukitisa banti konke lokho njoba sekumhlabuhlangene noma ke WHO kube nemhlangano nebetindzaba achaza kabanti nje ngato letifo leti letendeka kwemhlabeni kufaka ekhathi COVID-19 yo sona sifo seEbola kanye nemonkeypox kusinikela nje update ukuthi umhlaba wonke ume kanjani kuletifo leti sidaba sendlalela nje Dr. Tedros asichazela kabanti ngema updates ukuthi yini lecubekako emhlabeni nga 6:30 lomhla ekseni siphinde sikhulumisa nalabasuka ka National Disaster Management Agency lamudla lokuthi lishumi nakuthathu umhlaba wonke ukubhalilanga le-International Day for Disaster Reduction lilanga ke leli leku acknowledge imetamo bohulumende bemhlaba lasebayendile ukuzama kunciphisa tehlakalo noma ke yes tehlakalo ama disasters la endeke labangwa tomiso noma ke la yabangwa kugucugucuka kwesimo selitulo sabe sikhulumisana naye lapha umcondzisi welhlangothi loka early warning babe Eric Seyama kuva ukuthi ngabe live leSwatini lona selihamba umgamo lomnganani kwena ciniseko sekuthi sive samaswati siphephile uma ngabe kungahle kwendeke etehlakalo siyakhumula lokuthi iba khona ne early warning bulletin laba ikhokhako kuneketa nje sithomese ukuthi kulenyanga lena simo setulu sitabe sikanjani nekokuthi balimi babheke ukuthi bente njani ukuthi iphephisa kuleto timvula letingahle tibe khona noma kokucucucuka kwesimo selitulo konke lokusabe sititeka nga 7 lomhla ekseni naye babe Seyama lesikhathi sitaba hlelo temakethe sitabe sathatha indzaba date futhi ekucala.
Intuthuko lekhonsile yintuthuko lesuka phansi emimangweni usosive lesinesidingeko sayo. Ingene emiphakathini uboba betikhulu, ikhulunyiswe, ibusiswe enkundleni nasesifundzeni. Ite iyofika kuhulumende lowabatimali tekusukumisa leyo misebenzi yentuthuko nenhlalakahle. Bukela luhlelo sive siyathuthuka kubona imisebenzi lesukunyiswe ngaphansi kweluphiko lwahulumende lekwakha takhiwo letisekelwe ngetimali tahulumende, i-microproject kanye na-Regional Development Fund. Lolu hlelo lutawungena njalo ngalesine nga-8:30 p.m. kusihlwa nangalesihlanu ekuseni nga-9:30 a.m. Sive siyathuthuka. Intuthuko yetinkundla, intuthuko yemaswati.
I do the most. Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store. We're good together.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Asimze sinemukele solo ubukela hlelo Kusile Professional sakuvusela nawo lo sanza kusivulela. Silo inkosi Mswati wesithathu seseluleke silo sakaZulu inkosi MisiZulu kaZwelithini ukuthi sibambe bukhosi bakaZulu ngetandla totimbili siphinze sihambe etinyathelweni temakhosi akaZulu ayitolo. Ingonyama iphefumule ngesikhathi emakhosi emukela libandla lelibuya ebukhosini bakaZulu lebeliholwa abantu abenkosi bakaZulu. Abantu abenkosi bakaZulu bethule inkosi yakaZulu emakhosini elive baphinze babika nelusuku lekubeka kwayo.
Hey, no.
Sive sakaZulu silibuke ngalabovu lusuku lwekubekwa kwenkosi yaso inkosi MisiZulu kaZwelithini. Njengoba selithumela emasumpeni umkhosi sewuya ngekusondzela nemalungiselelo sekasesigabeni lesiphakeme. Abantu benkosi bebukhosi bakaZulu befike esigodlweni elidzidzini nayo inkosi bayethula ngalokusemthethweni emakhosini elive silo inkosi Mswati wesithathu neNdlovukazi Mhlekazi baphinze babikela emakhosi ngelusuku loluphakanyisiwe lomkhosi wekubekwa kwenkosi. Emakhosi yalemukele libandla aliva ludzaba lwalo. Imbube emaswati silo inkosi Mswati wesithathu ithi mukhulu futhi ubandi umsebenzi lowethweswe inkosi MisiZulu njengoba uma ubekwa uba inkosi usuke ubulawa
ngoba ngesikithi inkosi iyabulawa lokuba bosebukhosini ngobulawa kuvele kungumhambo wakithi kwekuthi inkosi naseyithweswa umthwalo longaka njengoba nje kwabonakala ukuthi kuvele kubulawe yena Dzadze kepha ke naDzadze ngoba naye wathi imalanga angakahambi langakanani kwakhanya ukuthi umdali naye uyasala uyabona ukuthi kungcono naye asale abuya kepha ke bakaZulu kuthi tena kunjalo babona ukuthi ke bukhosi bakaZulu kufuneka baqhubeke babeke inkosi njengoba na inkosi leseyikhona MisiZulu kaZwelithini le ligama lebukhosi lakaZulu lavele asaniketwe lona.
Silo semhlaba seluleke inkosi MisiZulu ukuthi ihambe etinyathelweni temakhosi yakaZulu ayitolo. Sicelene sive semaswati ukuthi sithandazele umkhosi wekubeka kwayo inkosi ukuthi ube impumelelo.
Sishaya livalo ukuthi lolotalwa lapha kithi naye nasekaniketwe umthwalo longaka webukhosi bakaZulu sithandaza ukuthi ke awubambe ngetandla totimbili wamageba naye alingise bo gogomkhulu nabo babemkhulu la kabakhansile boshaka bosenza ngakhona inkosi Eswatini labalibambile lelive balibamba lakaZulu kwabonakala ukuthi ke bukhosi bakaZulu buyachubeka njengoba nakuna namhla solo bukhosi bakaZulu buyachubeka. Ngiyo ngemithandazo nathi sibakangwane lesivele solo sihlangane ngekuthandaza ukuthi nase basebikele bakaZulu vele sekutheni live lonke lakangwane nanalo lisale lingena emthandazweni lingena esizilweni esigabeni sekutheni lelanga njengoba selibekiwe lonke liswati liyawuvele libe kanye kanye nebakaZulu kuthandaza esigabeni sekutheni umkhosi wekubeka yona inkosi uhambe kahle kakhulu.
Umvana inkosi Mbongiseni webukhosi bakaZulu nguyeke lowethulele emakhosi elive lusuku loluphakanyisiwe lokubekwa kwayo inkosi iMisuzulu.
Egameni lesizwe samaZulu sithunywe iNgonyama uMisuzulu kaZwelithini ndunankulu wesizwe samaZulu umntwana wakaphinda ngene Ndlovukazi ugogo wabo uGwabini na yonke indlunkulu yesizwe samaZulu ukuba sizobika ukuthi nazi ingane zenu zihlambululwe sibike nomsebenzi ukuthi umhla ka29 kuzobe ikhona sibikele Ndlovukazi neNgonyama yesizwe samaZulu egameni lesizwe samaZulu. Singephike-ke wena wesilo hlanga lomhlabathi ukuthi ingane yakho le sikwagogo la umuntu mayizo kwagogo ufuneka ukuthi afika abone ukuthi kwenzekani. Bekuyilokho egameni lesizwe samaZulu nendlunkulu ukuthi sizobukela indlulamithi umnikazi wezwe uSobhuzo ophilayo nogogo bakhe bonke ukuthi nayi ingane yakhe yabekwa namhlanje. Siyibulele isizwe samaZulu sayithengela sona umawaso. Umawaso kusamnikezwa inkosi uSobhuza. uSobhuzo ophilayo. Sobikela ke wena njengoSobhuzo ophilayo ukuthi nanga umntanakho uyophatha izwe lamaZulu. Umsebenzi oqala siwenzile wasesibayeni uhambe kahle. So umsebenzi wesizwe sonke nje namazwe angaphandle ibe khona. Sibonga amazwe enkosi ukuthi umama wena obuwasha amabhodwe wena obusishaya njengomake ukuthi sambe kahle bayede hlanga lomhlabathi.
Lubika kwethu indzabeni ngisandile Makhanya esigodlweni yeLutsitsini.
Indlovukazi imhlakazi seyiyale etikhulu ukuthi itigweme umkhuba wekuthengisa umhlaba lo sewanzile eveni. Mhlakazi waMaswati ukhokhe ulomyalo ngesikhathi yabusisa etikhulu letinsha emcimbini lebobanjwe esigodlweni eLutsitsini. Tikhulu letibusisiwe yindlovu yemhlabathi icubekele esigodlweni ngaphezweni lapho bekube khona ukuthi tibusiswe yiNgonyama.
Indlovukazi Mhlekazi yethulelwe yaphinzi yabusisa abantu abenkosi netikhulu lababelinani lelingamashumi 50 ebebaqhamuka etifundeni telive dotine. Kuleti tikhulu letibusisiwe kubalwa tikhulu letisiphohlongo letisesikhwahlande. Tikhulu letibusiso indlovu yemhlaba lesetethwe umthwalo lomkhulukati tethule kuye Mhlekazi kwachaza ukuthi tithatha tindvuku tabobani kwethula nemabito letitawusebenta ngawo. Iniketwe isiqiniseko indlovu yemhlaba ukuthi tilandzeleke tonke timiso tesiswati kwahlungisiswa kwate kwaphuma labo lese bethulekiwe indlovu yemhlaba. Inkundla ke ivulwe ngekuthi kwethulwe inkosi yesive sakamamba Maloyi wesithathu lethethe tindvuku teyise emajawu esibili. Lo msebenzi ube sesewuguquka ubalithuba lokuthi Mhlekazi weMaswati yakhiphe umyalo aphinze yakhutsate dona tikhulu. Mhlekazi weMaswati uyaletikhulu ukuthi tingawungeneli umkhuba yokuthengisa umhlaba lethi indlovu yemhlaba ngumkhuba losewanzile eveni.
Ngawo ke ngoba lamuhla sitobusisa tinsika talelive sitiyawusima kulelive sesiyatifaka nje kulelive lelive tawusima lisinkingani nalelive lingalithengisi ibe kunene yebo nani ngiyanikhalela nintami ngoba ungathi selingwemadzabudzabu seliyasikwa lemakhaya athi sikwathi tandi bekunene emakhaya. Sine ngeSiswati sakithi sathi ukuthi umuntu utata ukhonda akathengi, lamhla sekusiwa kuyathengwa. Ebekunene phela le ndzaba le ngikhuluma ko mina indzaba lesikhuluma ko la. Boba belabanye bangene ekhathi basike. Hawu bekunene alisiusiko emapulazi live.
Mhlekazi ukusateti khulu ukuthi tihloniphe tiphinze tihloniphe nesive digwemene kudla imandi ladvungekile ngalokweqile nokuthi tithi tiyemukela intuthuko kodwa ngenhlanye tena isiqiniseko sokuthi imihambo nemasiko yakulahleki.
NgesiSiswati sakithi mawunikwa umthwalo lo njengalona sihamba ubheka sive usuku ubulewe. Ngoba lokubhekekiwe kuwe kubhekeke ukuthi weqala nje wena lo tawubuka lesive uqaleke nipha wena ngoba lesive singeke sikuhloniphe uma wena la ungahloniphi. Uma lesive usihlonipha sitakuhlonipha. Kodwa uma utawuphondla ubheke eceleni utawuva nje abantu bathi ngabasabekelwani nje na induni. Yabona mase bathi abantu ungisabekelwa ini. Shokusahambi ngalendlela nawe awukathi phathi kahle ngoba nyalo sekudingeke nithi phathe kahle nalapha bo hamba ngakhona noma ncene uhle uyahamba uyojayiva awusangeni.
Lo bambe kuba indvuna yaseLutsitsini Themba Gininza uhambe emagameni amhlekazi wakuthatha tikhulu ukuthi tihloniphe sive ngaso sonke isikhathi.
Kepha nje kubhekeke ukuthi sive niyawusihlonipha kuze lesive naso sinhloniphe. Nelive niyawulihlonipha. Nelive litanihlonipha na. Inhlonipho lehamba embili nekwati ukuthi nibusiswe ngemakhosi. Makhosi ke abekwa nguNkulunkulu akabekwa ngumuntu nje.
Bekubhekeke ukuthi tikhulu iqhubekele esigodlweni engabezweni kuyobusiswa silo semhlaba inkosi Mswati wesithathu. Lubika kwethu indzabeni ngisandile emakhanya esigodlweni eLutsitsini.
Uhulumende wakuleli udinga imali lelinganiselwa ku-100 million amalangeni kuvala kuketvuka kwemhlaba lokukhona lapha eveni. Lokuvetwe indvuna yehlukile tekuvakasha netindzaba temvelo Moses Velakati ngesikhathi iye kuyawubuka umsebenzi wokuvalwa koludvonga lebelikadze lilinganiselwa ku-70 meters kushona phansi endzaweni yaseNgcayini ngaphansi kwenkhundla yakunkomyahlaba.
Litiko letekuvakasha nemvelo lesekelelo ummango ngaphansi kwesikhwama i-Environment Fund kuvala loludvonga lebekadze seliyingoti njengoba bese kucumukela imfuyo. Indvuna yaleli tiko Moses Velakati beyiye kuyawudibonela kwekuthi lo msebenzi sewuhambe kangakanani.
Buka umsebenzi lomunye lesawu niketa imali lenganga 140,000 ukuthi basebenzi lendzaba yalesigotsi lesigotsi besisigotsi lesikhulu lebese sibanga kokuthi kulimale tinkomo timfuyo tabo netimbuti kugeduka ke lakithi sekuyinto lesifuna kuba sehlakalo nasibuka nje besibuka tibalo letithi livele ligedukile linganani seliyeta ku10%. Nasibuka imali letsingakalako ingetulu kwabo 100 million.
Albert Zubuko libamba lendvuna yeNgcayini uthi umsebenzi lo njengalona uyawuthuthukisa ummango.
Nesikhathi lesitheke kuphela imfuyo la digcumukela nebantu bese besaba vele umuntu nje wesaba kusonzela kulo sisabela nebantwana.
Sihlalo walomsebenzi kulendzawo Amos Mdluli uthi sive besibambisene nelitiko kusasetshenzwa.
Siyakholwa ukuthi kumbe bekusesesicalo
salomsebenzi sisi ngalokuthi awukapheli na ubuka ngoba kungaba lite lelide nasi ngawushiya unje njengoba kufanele ukuthi kukhave kwentiwe yonke leti ngcinamba vele sinado kakhulu ngoba litulu ngazi ukuthi lina la ingcayini kakhulu ngoba mase liqale kuno umhlabathi ungahamba wonke.
Indvuna ikhutsata sive kwekuthi sidlale inzima yaso kuvala kugedvuka kwemhlaba. Etindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Nelisiwendla ngamandla kunambongwa Dube yengcayini.
Enhloso yekukhulisa linani letivakashi letingena lapha eveni litiko letekuvakasha litawungenela umbukiso wetekuvakasha welive leMozambique kusukela mhla til-13 kuya kumhla ti-15 kuLesitulu. Indvuna yetekuvakasha Moses Velakati ichazile kwekuthi leSwatini litawungenela lo mbukiso ngaphansi kwesivumelwano salamave sekuthuthukisa tekuvakasha i-Triland Agreement.
Ngenhloso yekutfutfukisa tekuvakasha kuleli litiko letekuvakasha litawungenela umbukiso wetekuvakasha wemalanga lama-3 eveni leMozambique. Indvuna yetekuvakasha ichaza kabanti kwekuthi leSwatini litawuzuza ini kulo mbukiso.
Nanathi sidabe sikhangisela ukuthi eSwatini abantu bangafike baboneni ngoba kulendzaba ye-Triland sithi umuntu noma ufikele eMpumalanga akabe sute eSwatini agcine aphelele eMozambique. So sisebenzisa leyo route noma loyo mgubudla lokunye bathe batabe bakhombisa ngetindzaba tetindiza labatabe banato ukuthi bona sebaqale kuba ne-link nabo Emirates kokuthi nemaswati sangaye eMozambique aye Maputo akwati ukuthi nangabaya kubo Dubai noma yakubo Asia. Lokunye ke bathi batabe bakhombisa nangekwekuthi tindvo letinhle bantu labangafike batithola eMozambique yini. Nguloko ke lesishelana kuna ligwayi ngoba labakithi ama-operators kufuna ati ukuthi nasefikile lo muntu lathi hey sengifikile eSwatini hey nathi lapha sitahamba siye naseMozambique ngoba nasesikhangisa lamave ungathi selive linye.
Ngenyanga yendlovu lenkhulu kulomnyaka libandla letekuvakasha i-Eswatini Tourism Authority libike kwekuthi kungakabhedvuki umkhuhlane i-COVID-19 tekuvakasha betifaka lokuthatfwe ekhulwini emnothweni welive lokwehle kwefika ku-1.2% lokwenta litiko libuke tindlela tekukhulisa tekuvakasha kuleli. Etindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Nelisiwendla ngamandla kunambongwa Dube Embabane.
Mapalane lomkhulu wetiko letemfundvo Bekthemba Gama sewunxusa abafundzisi nabatali ukuthi bacabangele lekusasa lebafundzi. Gama kusho lokho kulandzela ukuthi emakolishi lehlukene kuleli yahlaseleke ngetindlela letahlukene ikakhulu ngetikhatsi tekubhalwa kwelihlolo.
Ukunceka nje abantwana ukuthi sebatikhude nabo. Madabashi siyabona ayendeka esikoleni endeka nama-colleges. Angathi noma ne-away yini we-challenge kule mpicture. But ngasizivayela college ngoba students asafuqa lapha violent. But at the end of the day, ku-affecteka bona and kuyasiwarisha yathina because we know the effect yalo will come to the fore. Tobonakala kahle ithi ba in about 5 to 10 years. Lokususa ukhanza sekunegenge lengakafunzi. Ngoba nje nyalo nawubuka sokungafunda tawugcile kodlula iminyaka angagraduate not because ukuthi sikasegraduate because labantu have not reached the competence level yokuthi ba-graduate and nabo nangakubabude nje wherever they are labo labakhazisa baye kuyofunda ukuthi bantu khona into wadinga lokuba ukuthi uyakufundzela. Ngiyasola singaba ne-challenge and siworried ngesilitiko letemfundo because ngihle safeguarda ema-standards ekufunda kubanxusa nje nebatali ekhathi sabakhulume nebantwana sebacabanga ukuthi imfundo ilikusasa lelive nemnotho welive.
Kudemidlalo lekhethelo lesive lama-under 20 seliphumile endzabeni yalonyaka yeCOSAFA under 20 lecubekako lapha eveni ngemuva kokuthi lehluleke kutfola sikhundla salicembu lelikhethwe njengelicembu lelikhombe kudlala kahle. I-second best legcine itfolwa yi-Angola leshaye i-Seychelles ngemagoli lasiphohlongo kulinye lokwente ukuthi ibe nemagoli lamanengi lango-12 kanti i-Eswatini yona inemagoli lasithupha.
Likhethelo lema-under 20 lakuleli seliphumile endzabeni yeCOSAFA yema-under 20 lichubekako lapha eveni kulandzela ukuthi lehluleke ukukhethwa njengelicembu lelikhonile kutimisela ukuthi lingachubekela esigabeni sema-semifinals phecelezi second best. Kulama group lamathafu ngaphasi kwa group A, iZambia ngiyo lehamba embili kanzi ngaphasi kwa group B kuneMozambique bese kuthi ngaphasi kwa group C kunelive leNingizimu Afrika. Lamacembu lamathathu ngiwo lachubekela esigabeni sema-semifinals kanzi bekudzingeka linye licembu lesine lelitawudlala kuwo ema-semifinals lapho khona lase-Eswatini belinawo amathuba lamahle ukuthi lingachubekela esigabeni lesilandzelako ngemuva ukuthi lishaye iMauritius ngamagoli 7 ecandzeni. Elangeni lesithathu kube lilanga lelikhokhela ikusasa lelikhethelo lesive leSwatini lapho khona uncoba kwe-Angola ngamagoli 8 kulinyana lishaye iSeychelles kwenta ukuthi kube nemaphuzu lasithupha kanye nemagoli la12 lokubita ukuthi kube ngiyo i-Angola lecubekela esigabeni sama-semifinals ngesizathu sokuthi lisenemagoli amaningi. Lokusho ukuthi ema-semifinals atawudlalwa ngalesihlanu kuleli viki lelisetulu atawubona iZambia itfolana etulu ne-Angola emidlalweni wokuqala bese kuthi emidlalweni wesibili iNingizimu Afrika itawutfolana etulu neMozambique. Le midlalo itawudlalela enkundleni yesive kasomhlolo. Emacembu lamabili atawuphumelela atawutfolana etulu kumancamo ngelisonto khona enkundleni yesive kasomhlolo. Lobiyela umsakati Eswatini TV temidlalo ngilinda Dlamini kanzi umbiko uhlanganiswe nguFabrice Msonera eMbabane.
Lobuke kudlalisa umdlalo welibhola lemphebedo esifundeni saselubonjeni Njabulo Mpamali uthi budlelwane lobukhona emkhathini walenhlangano kanye nenhlangano ledlalisa lomdlalo event eNingizimu Afrika butawusita kakhulu ekuthuthukiseni izinhlelo tekufundisa abadlali labancane njengoba batfola njalo lithuba lekungenela imiqhudelwano khona eveni leNingizimu Afrika. Mpamali uvete lokhu kulandzela ukuthi kunebadlali labathathu bakhona elibonjeni lababuya ePretoria kuyongenela umqhudelwano lowatiwa ngokuthi i-Rainbow Under 10 Tennis Tournament.
Kulandzela budlelwane lobukhona emkhathini wenhlangano yemidlalo yemphebedo lapha eveni kanye naleyo yaseNingizimu Afrika kuthi live njalo lingamikisa abadlali balomdlalo ikakhulukazi labancane ukuthi bangenele imiqhudelwano yakhona eveni laseNingizimu Afrika. Live likhonile-ke ukuthi kulempela somvo limikise abadlali ePretoria lapho khona bayongenela khona umqhudelwano lowatiwa ngokuthi i-Rainbow Kids Tournament letodlalwa abadlali bema-under 10. Kulo mqhudelwano live limikise bantfwana bebafana labathathu kanye nemntfwana ntombazana munye. Njabulo Mpamali lobuke kudlalisa lemidlalo esifundeni saselibonjeni lobeka hambe naleli cembu uchazile ukuthi kunyende kakhulu labakufundzile kulena mdlalo.
Nasifike South Africa sifike sakhanza ukuthi we are on the same level of standard of play which yokungeletha mina as a coach wase-Stegi Tennis Club ukuthi ngibe like I'm not far behind lokho lesikwendako, was just on the same level nabo. So ama-challenges esiba nawo kuvame ukuthi ukhanze ukuthi ema-tournaments they are like far from where lesuke sikhembe khona for accommodations. So ufuna ukuthi it's like we go previous days khona fike sikapture to the atmosphere of the place and suke earlier for tournaments. And in the result of that, ukhanze ukuthi wafika late kuma-tournaments, you get a walkover, you end up not playing other games. But overall, we played so well because it's connected to question one, some of our players, which is really good for us. So we need to keep on practicing more, so we can gather more games in the future.
Lo mqhudelwano wesithathu longenela licembu leliqhamuka elibonjeni khona eStegi. Inhlangano ledlalisa umdlalo wemphebedo ithi lo budlelwane lobukhona kunale nhlangano ledlalisa umdlalo wemphebedo eNingizimu Afrika uyabasita kakhulu ukukhulisa lo mdlalo eveni. Lobikela umsakado weSwatini TV temidlalo ngiphathizwe Msibi umbiko ohlanganiswe nguFabrice Msonera kanti ithombe tibuya kuyo inhlangano ye-tennis.
28 minutes after 6 siyadiphetha indzaba tetfu ngaleto temidlalo sidabahlole timakethe sidawu yasichubeke nelihlelo asinishine simo selitulo.
1 2 3 shayibhola bola kaze baphela buhlungu bami bengingatholi banifana namhla senginayo umuntu engicoca naye ngisidlala naye manje ngiyayibonga nalihlelo lwakwa foster care program lolwangilethela wena mfana wami namhla senginalo nami udundulo lwami lwakusasa sengiyazi ukuthi sekukhona umuntu engihlala naye lesicoca naye.
Bantwa bethu foster care help raise the future bethembethile.
I do the most. Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store.
We're good together. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Asibenzele sinemokele siyabonga ukuthi endleleni nathi lo mhlehlelweni Kusile Breakfast Show lesikhathi sidandlalela umhlangano indla lapho bobanjwe nebetindzaba inhlangano kamhlaba yetempilo WHO abambe umhlangano nebetindzaba kusineta nje update ukuthi sime kanjani tifeni letikhona emhlabeni lokufaka ekhathi umkhuhlane COVID-19 monkeypox kanye neEbola lebhethuke eveni lasa Uganda.
Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. First to Uganda, where WHO is continuing to support the government to respond to an outbreak of Ebola disease in 5 districts. So far, there are 54 confirmed and 20 probable cases, with 39 deaths and 14 people have recovered. More than 660 contacts are currently under active follow-up. Our primary focus now is to support the government of Uganda to rapidly control and contain this outbreak, to stop it spreading to neighboring districts and neighboring countries. This morning, I addressed a meeting in Uganda on the outbreak, attended by the Prime Minister, the Minister of Health, and health ministers from several neighboring countries. I welcome the Prime Minister's commitment to controlling the outbreak and for engaging Uganda's neighbors. Dr. Mike Ryan is on the ground in Uganda and can say more later. Now to Haiti, where we're deeply concerned about the outbreak of cholera in the capital Port-au-Prince and surrounding areas. According to the Ministry of Public Health and Population, as of last Saturday, there were 224 suspected cases of cholera and 16 deaths. 1/4 of suspected cases are among children aged under 5 years. On Sunday, the ministry also confirmed a cholera outbreak in the National Penitentiary of Port-au-Prince with 39 suspected cases and 9 deaths. The situation is evolving rapidly, and it's possible that earlier or additional cases have not been detected. The surveillance mechanism set up by the Haitian government with the support of WHO and other partners is operating under extremely difficult circumstances. The affected areas are very insecure and controlled by gangs, which makes it very difficult to collect samples and delays laboratory confirmation of cases and deaths. In addition, fuel shortages are making it harder for health workers to get to work, causing health facilities to close and disrupting access to health services for people who live in some of the most deprived communities. WHO is working with the Ministry of Health and our partners to coordinate the response, including for surveillance, case management, water and sanitation, vaccination, and community engagement. But to bring this outbreak under control, we need secure access to the affected areas. Now to Pakistan. Last week, I said that many more people than died in the floods could die from disease in the coming weeks and months. There is now a malaria outbreak in 32 districts, while the incidence of cholera, dengue, measles, and diphtheria is also increasing in flood-affected districts. We expect the situation to continue to deteriorate, but so far, international support has not been at the scale or speed needed. Trillions of dollars are being poured into fighting wars around the world. We continue to ask international donors to invest in saving lives in Pakistan. Tomorrow, the Emergency Committee on COVID-19 will hold its regular quarterly meeting in accordance with the international health regulations. Clearly, we're in a very different situation now to where we were when the committee recommended that I declare a public health emergency of international concern more than 22 months ago. We have all the tools we need to end the emergency in every country, but the pandemic is not over, and there is much more work to be done. WHO will brief the committee on the current situation globally and present our concerns about the continuing risks to the world's population with large vaccination gaps, reduced surveillance, low rates of testing and sequencing, and uncertainties about the potential impact of current and future variants. I look forward to receiving the committee's recommendations. On monkeypox, more than 70,000 cases have now been reported to WHO with 26 deaths. Globally, cases are continuing to decline, but in the past 21 weeks, countries reported an increase in cases, mostly in the Americas, which accounted for almost 90% of all cases reported that week. Once again, we caution that a declining outbreak can be the most dangerous outbreak because it can tempt us to think that the crisis is over and to let down our guard. That's not what WHO is doing. We're continuing to work with countries around the world to increase their testing capacity and to monitor trends in the outbreak. We're concerned about reports of cases in Sudan, including in refugee camps near the border with Ethiopia. Like COVID-19, monkeypox remains a public health emergency of international concern, and WHO will continue to treat it as such. Finally, more than a decade ago, I was invited to join a committee that was setting up a new health conference in Germany called the World Health Summit. Since then, the World Health Summit has gone from strength to strength and is now one of the most important events on the global health calendar. For the first time this year, WHO is the official co-organizer of the World Health Summit. Over 3 days, thousands of leaders from public health, government, civil society, academia, youth, industry, and parliaments will gather to discuss the most pressing issues in global health.
I'm wondering if WHO has concerns about the way Uganda is handling this outbreak. Is it accepting all the help it's being offered? Is it following up on suspected or probable cases as aggressively as it needs to get this under control? Thank you.
First of all, it's a wonderful opportunity to be here at this interministerial meeting where so many countries in the region have come together to collectively address the risks posed by Ebola. I have returned from the field. I was at Uganda yesterday and Madudu and got a chance to see on the ground the work that was being done by the clinical teams, the nursing teams, the ambulance teams, by our colleagues and partners in MSF in constructing and supporting the running of isolation facilities and the increasing activity around surveillance and community engagement.
And as WHO, we always recommend to countries to consider probable cases as if there were confirmed cases because we cannot miss the link on the transmission chain. So it's very important to make sure that we have quality investigation and identification on contact around probable cases to make sure that we can understand the full dynamic of the transmission. And it will also help communities to understand that we need to be more alert, because if you have more alert from the community, from dead bodies on people presenting symptoms, we'll avoid having a number of probable cases without full information on what happened around them. So I believe, although in some of the report, the highlight is on confirmed case, but Uganda is considering all probable cases to make sure that the actions are comprehensive in terms of IPC, in terms of safe and dignified burial, and also in terms of contact identification and follow-up.
Can you talk more about the links between climate change and cholera? What should the world expect to see in terms of cholera outbreaks in the coming years? And should management of cholera change because of this uptick in cases? Thank you.
As we can see already, the climate stress is creating more complex and humanitarian crisis. Right now, we are talking about 330 million people in need for humanitarian assistance, while the projection was around 274 million for 2022. So we have an increased number of people of need for access to basic services like water, sanitation, and so on. And if you look at the situation in the Horn of Africa, in the Sahel, in Pakistan, you can see already the impact of climate change. As we always say, that climate change is a public health crisis also, and as DG said. And it's really important to see that all these people have difficult access to water and sanitation because of the climate stress. And we will see more and more, cholera outbreak happening. And right now we are talking about 28 countries reporting cholera cases, and 11 of them are new in 2022. So the climate change, associated with the issue of security, humanitarian crisis, will continue increasing the risk of cholera for millions of people. And you are really seeing cholera as an old disease, but it's already a new threat. So we need to treat cholera as like other new diseases we are dealing with. And the pressure we are having on community like oral cholera vaccine and other communities is so huge. And we are getting a lot of stress to make sure that the people who are in this difficult condition have access to safe water, have access to cholera vaccine, and this is going to increase. And we call on manufacturer, on donors to really prioritize, investment in cholera to save lives.
Thank you very much. My question is to Dr. Mariangelo Simao about the situation in the Gambia, about the cough syrup that potentially led to the death of about 66 children. The first question I'd just like to ask is, how did you reach the conclusion, as per your alert last week, that the syrup might have possibly gone to other regions or countries through the black market? And do we know what regions we're talking about? And then just quickly, the Indian authorities today stopped the pharmaceutical company from producing the cough syrups. What's your reaction to this? And are you concerned that the syrups might have actually already been in the market and are still in circulation?
First of all, is related to how did we reach the conclusion that there could be a link. First, I think it's very important to say that there is a very in-depth investigation of these deaths, this very sad occurrence of these deaths in the Gambia, by the government of the Gambia, by international partners, including WHO, on the ground supporting the full investigation. During the course of these investigations, the government of Gambia started to collect medicines that have been used by different children who were hospitalized. And WHO does what it usually does when there is a suspect of the involvement of the medicines in a health occurrence. And WHO sends these samples of all the 23 different samples were sent to our reference labs. One of them is in Switzerland and the other one is in France. And then we had the unfortunate findings of the 4 pediatric formulations that had contaminations with 2 products that are old products. They have been involved in other contaminations and led to to serious health problems and deaths since 1930. It's a very well-known history. The diethylene glycol, we call it DEG, and the ethylene glycol, we call it EG. And they should never be in anything that human beings ingest. So this is, so I'm just trying to separate because the investigations into the deaths, they continue, but once we detect these products in a medicine or something that people will take on and will ingest, they should be banned from the market. So what we have so far, the normal procedure, WHO has regular procedures for this. One of them is the global medical alert that has a few aims to, for example, to inform national regulatory authorities when we notice problems with a product, and to also inform the public. And also, we have to raise the alert in terms of that this product may be circulated in other countries. The information we received from the drug controller in India was that these batches were manufactured exclusively for the Gambia, but we don't rule out the possibility that through unregulated markets that it has reached out to other countries. And just lastly, add that several countries in the African region have issued their own alert and are proactively doing surveillance, trying to identify if these products are in their market. And that's the right thing to do. Last thing is that, let me say that we are working very closely with the Indian authorities for the full investigation into the manufacturing process itself and the ways these products reach the market, right? So the distribution and the manufacturing. And WHO did recommend to the drug controller in India to suspend the manufacturing in the plants that were involved in this incident, and we hear that this has been done and that the production is suspended. I'll stop here.
My question is ahead of the emergency committee meeting on COVID later this week. I hope maybe Maria, you could lay the land a little bit on what's ahead. Does it make sense? I know that the committee is going to come up with its recommendation, and it's not WHO who decides. But from a WHO perspective, does it make sense to keep this as an emergency of international concern, or would it not make sense to move to a new phase now? Everyone has been alerted, everyone is aware of this problem. What would be how would that make? How would it be important to keep this as an emergency of international concern? Why should that not be withdrawn now? Sorry, thank you.
So thanks very much for the question. So we won't preempt what the emergency committee will debate and decide and advise to the Director General tomorrow. But what we will, as the Secretariat, will be laying out is what is happening with COVID-19 right now. Given that we're in the third year of this pandemic, the virus is circulating at an incredibly intense level around the world. In the last week alone, we've had more than 3 million reported cases, and we know that's an underestimate because surveillance has changed, testing has changed, reporting has changed. So we don't have a good idea. We don't have a clear picture of how much actually this virus is circulating around the world. On the other hand, what we are seeing is a reduced impact of SARS-CoV-2 infections in people because of the use of available tools, life-saving tools like diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines. The challenge that we face right now are twofold. One is that we haven't utilized these tools most effectively in all countries around the world. We have not reached the vaccination level coverage in the most at-risk populations in all countries of the world. If you look at the proportion of the people who have been vaccinated who are over the age of 60, who have underlying conditions, our frontline workers, we haven't reached the targets of 100% in every country. And that's due to a lack of access. It's due to a lack of the implementation of the use of these vaccines in countries, and many challenges that we face, including misinformation and disinformation about these products. On the other hand, we also have an uncertainty about this virus going forward. The virus is spreading at an intense level. We are tracking currently more than 300 sublineages of Omicron, which is the variant of concern that is dominant worldwide. Most of these subvariants are BA.5, sublineages of BA.5 or BA.2, and our ability to track, to trace, to assess these variants is reducing over time because of changes in surveillance, because of changes in sequencing. And so what we don't know is how this virus will continue to change. We know it will change. We expect future variants to be more transmissible. We expect there to be some further immune escape from variants that will continue to circulate, but we can have some kind of effect on the impact of this virus going forward if we use these tools most effectively. Now, countries are certainly in a different stage as they were in the beginning. The world is in a much better place in dealing with COVID as we go forward, but we're not quite living with this virus as we're not managing it as well as we possibly could. We need to live with COVID-19 responsibly. We need to save lives, as many lives as we can, as everywhere in the world, not just in high-income countries, but in all countries of the world while we live our lives. So we are working with member states right now, every member state of the world, all over the world, to optimize the response in this third year, to adjust the strategies related to surveillance, related to infection prevention and control, related to vaccination, risk communication and community engagement, so that we have the appropriate use of public health and social measures like masking, distancing, improving ventilation, cleaning your hands, making sure that we address misinformation and disinformation, which is rampant worldwide and has an effect on the life-saving tools that actually exist. And we need to further work on research and development so that we continue to develop more vaccines, potentially vaccines that look at infection as well as transmission, in addition to saving lives. So there's a lot more to do. And we, as the World Health Organization, will continue to work with all member states to optimize that response, calibrate the response in the context of all of the other health emergencies that you're asking about here today at this press conference, of health emergencies as well as non-health emergencies. So it's a complex picture out there, but we have been very clear, the Director General has been very clear that this is not over and that there is much more work that we need to do.
I wanted to come back on Helen's question earlier about Ebola in Uganda. I was wondering, Mike mentioned that there's an issue with generating enough alerts in the community. I was wondering what the challenges are, what the problems are with doing that, and if health workers on the ground are meeting pushback from the community, and how you're working to respond to that. Thank you.
We MacGyvered a solution with duct tape and plastic rubber bands here, so we have a new connection, so I hope it's better. That's a good question. I don't think there's any more resistance or difficulty than you find in any situation. This is a local, rural community. There are some traditional beliefs in that community. There is a huge commitment to family, there's a huge commitment to community, there's a huge focus on burial rights, and we've seen this in many cases. I think in general the local government and the local system is reacting well. There are some specific communities. There are local settled communities. There are migratory or displaced or refugee communities. There are some communities that work around gold mining. So it's not a completely homogenous group. There are different groups within society in that part of Uganda, and we need to reach all of them. So first of all, we need to be able to reach all communities, and the government are really trying hard with that.
Alright, 6 minutes before 7 o'clock bekungiwe ke lo umhlangano waka WHO basiketa nje update ngetifo letikhona emhlabeni etfaka ekhathi COVID-19, i-monkeypox kanye ne-Uganda sifo se-Ebola lesibhedvuke eveni lase Uganda. Sabahlete market na sibuya sitawuthatha traffic update.
Do you remember the spinning thing? This is us. This picture represents what we did. We were there when coronavirus wreaked havoc in our population. Together with other stakeholders, we formed the first line, controlling the spread of the unknown and unseen enemy of the people. Anxious ourselves, we collected dead bodies countrywide. At the time when no one wanted to come near dead bodies of loved ones, we did care for our fellow citizens. Thank you the people of Eswatini, and teams of first responders.
Asibize sinimukele sitawubuka simo semgwaqo na Sergeant Gule lomhlaekuseni asivusele Gule ngabe kuhambeka kanjani emigwaqweni yelive lomhlaekuseni.
Angivusele Thombeni ngivusele ngalokukhethekile umbukelo waloluhlelo sesihlolile imigwaqo etifundeni totini kungaba kuqala ngako nje kuphawula awutiba netemgwaqo embabane ngileti ngasebenzi ngathi leti lapha emangwaneni kanti enshiselweni khona solwathi sebenzi ibane leti lapha eceleni kwase Pick and Pay kulolunye ihlangothi asivetele ukuthi solo kuyachutshekwa nekulungiswa imigwaqo nekwakhiwa etindzaweni letinengi lela sikholwa kahle ukuthi awubashayeli bayawutibona leto timpawu letiphakanyisiwe ikakhulukazi njengoba bakhona nalabo labangibona basilawula ukuhamba kwethu labo labaphethe tona timpawu letibopho sithi nje awubashayeli abachubeke babahloniphe bathathe naleyo milayeto kuze kokuthi naloyo msebenzi wabo lapha wendako ube impumelelo ube beteke leto tingoti kanti ke sikuvetile lokho umthamo wethu motolo sovele uphakeme emigwaqweni yalo live sithi nje awasichubeke emalangeni lamahle sishayele ngalokukhulu ucophelela sende isiqiniseko sokuthi ke siyadinaka timpawu temgwaqo imithetho yemgwaqo nokuhlonipha ke labo labahamba ngetinyawo lapha edolobheni lakaManzini solo ugugubuliwe imigwaqo leminingi titalati letiningi ikhathi nekhathi ledolobha lekungiso sitalati lesisuka lapha eCentral siwele leBus Rank lesinguye Manchester Street nesitalati lesisuka lapha eMozambique senyukele itulu eduze sitalati lesingimahleka kanjalo ke naso lesingikose elihlaza siyawusuka khona lapha eDubs sibheke khona lapha kubo Esel House bolkhaka asinake ke nakhona sibashayeli sende siqiniseko sokuthi litubane lo uyahamba ngalo ngiyaba ngelo leliphansi liyawena ukuthi uyakhona kulawula imoto yakho lapho kuvela simo bongakasigazi khona lokho sikuvetiswa ukuthi kunemathe lalula laphakamako nemathe la kuba lula kushaya lifastelo lalenye imoto lo nawe uyahamba ngesivinini lesiyaba ngileso lesisetulu kakhulu kanti ke kulonye ihlangothi asijinge siphawule ukuthi solo kuyachutshekwa lapha kunaya i-interchange la sibona khona kuthwetshwa noma ke kulungiswa indlela yokuhamba ngako kuthwetshwa leto timpawu taphansi kanjalo ke nokufakwa leto timpawu lokunye lokukhona asivetele ukuthi solo bayachubeka nekwenda ke leya road audit leyendiwa ko lapha siyakhuthaza nje awubashayeli abachubeke babahloniphe babanikete naleyo impendulo kuleyo mibuto labantu ababuta yona inhloso lenkulu kubuka lo emgwaqo ukuthi ingabe kwakheka kwawo uyawulungela inivele ikakhulu simo lesiphila kuso kulawo malanga sithi nje kunene leyawusetimiswa timoto lapho akhona emaphoyisa bakhona nalabo labasebenzako asendeke isiqiniseko sokuthi siyababambisa basachubeka nawo umsebenzi kungaba ngiloko nje kuseni sikhuthaza kakhulu labo labathutha sona sive ukuthi asichubeke emalangeni lamahle sihambe ngetimoto letiphilile sende isiqiniseko sokuthi nendlela lesiyawulayishana ngayo kuyaba ngiyo phela indlela leyaba ngilephephile siyabonga kakhulu uThombeni nginifiselela ngalelihle endlini emsakazo nisachubeka nemsebenzi wenu naso sive samaswati sisiselela ngalelihle naleliphephile sawusebenzisa umgwaqo siyabonga kakhulu.
Asibonga kakhulu Gwele kusekela yombiko 1 minute before 7 asithatha likhefu sitabeni ndinzaba defu desibili.
Sanibonani bantu labasha. Namhla sibone kuhle ukuthi sikhulumisane ngetindzaba tempilo nethi singasitana kanjani ukuthi sihlale singilabaphilile. Ingabe khona yini lowati nge-Dreams Services?
Yebo sisi, mina ngifile ngalo lolu hlelo lwe-Faith and Community Initiatives. Yelitiko letempilo kanye nenhlangano yaka-PACT.
Ngicela usho lokwatiko sisi khona sonke sitositakala.
Luhlelo lwe-Dreams lunetinhlangothi letiningi letifaka ekhatsi kuhlola simo sengati, kunakekela ema-OVC, kusita ngemabhizinisi, nekugwema bucala bekuhlukubetana ngewebulili. Lokuhle kakhulu nyalo ukuthi sesingaluthola lwati loluningi ngoba selukhona lana emasompheni ethu.
Uqinisile sisi, mshayele ntandla. Onke emasonto sakatoba nayo indlela yekuxhumana na Dream Services. Kuthi abantu lobasha batokhona ukuthola lisito lekutimela, bangatikhanzi ebungotini bethi bathole kugula noma bahlukumedeke.
Lo mlayeto wemasomvo niulethela litiko letempilo netinhlangano letina Dream Services.
Baba nanyamani.
Sake ngikhumbulile. Hamba nje kuseni sengibuya ngikhumbulile. Basisita ke mfana. Ngoba bese kukhala libhungane. Yonke indlu sahlala MTT. Uyayibona le ndzawo.
Basisita ke laba uhulumende kusuka sinika labantwana. Kanti vele nangemhamba itolo. Bantwana bebakhulela kubantu abadzala. Umceli nakulomunye.
Bantva bethu foster care help raise the future. Bethembethini.
Asimenzele sinemukele sitawungene etindzabeni tephu tesibili. Silo inkosi Mswati wesithafu seseluleke silo sakaZulu inkosi Mrs.Zulu kaZwelithini kuthi sibambe bukhosi bakaZulu ngetandla totimbili siphindze sihambe etinyathelweni temakhosi akaZulu ayitolo. Ingonyama iphefumule ngesikhathi emakhosi emukela libandla lelibuye ebukhosini bakaZulu lebeliholwa abantu abenkosi bakaZulu. Abantu abenkosi bakaZulu bethule inkosi yakaZulu emakhosini elive baphindze babika nelusuku lwekubekwa kwayo.
Sive sakaZulu silibuke ngalabovu lusuku lwekubekwa kwenkosi yaso inkosi Mrs.Zulu kaZwelithini. Njengoba selithumela emasumpeni umkhosi sewuya ngekusondzela nemalungiselelo sekasesigabeni lesiphakeme. Bantu benkosi bebukhosi bakaZulu befike esigodlweni elidzidzini nayo inkosi bayethula ngalokusemthethweni emakhosini elive silo inkosi Mswati wesithathu neNdlovukazi Mhlekazi baphindze babikela emakhosi ngelusuku loluphakanyisiwe lomkhosi wekubekwa kwenkosi. Emakhosi yalemukele libandla aliva ludzaba lwalo. Imbube eMaswati silo inkosi Mswati wesithathu ithi mukhulu futhi ubandi umsebenzi lwethweswe inkosi Mrs.Zulu njengoba uma ubekwa uba inkosi usuke ubulawa.
Ngoba ngesikithi inkosi iyabulawa lokuba busebukhosini ngobulawa. Kuvele kungumhambo wakithi. Kwekuthi inkosi naseyithweswa umthwalo longaka njengoba nje kwabonakala ukuthi kuvele kubulawe yena Dzadze. Kepha ke naDzadze ngoba naye wathi imalanga angakahambi langakanani kwakhanya ukuthi umdali naye uyasala uyabona ukuthi kungcono naye asale abuya. Kepha ke bakaZulu kuthi tena kunjalo babona ukuthi ke bukhosi bakaZulu kufuneka baqhubeke babeke inkosi njengoba na inkosi leseyikhona Mrs.Zulu kaZwelithini le ligama lebukhosi lakaZulu lavele asaniketwe lona.
Silo semhlaba seluleke inkosi Mrs.Zulu ukuthi ihambe etinyathelweni temakhosi akaZulu ayitolo. Sicelene sive seMaswati ukuthi sithandazele umkhosi wekubeka kwayo inkosi ukuthi ube impumelelo.
Sishaya livalo ukuthi lolotalwa lapha kithi naye nasekaniketwe umthwalo longaka webukhosi bakaZulu sithandaza ukuthi ke awubambe ngetandla totimbili wamageba. Naye alingise gogomkhulu nabobabemkhulu la kabakhanzile boshaka bosenza ngakhona inkosi Zwelithini le labalibambile lelive balibamba lakaZulu kwabonakala ukuthi ke bukhosi bakaZulu buyaqhubeka njengoba nakuna namhla solubukhosi bakaZulu buyaqhubeka. Ngiyo ngemithandazo nathi sibakangwane lesivele solo sihlangane ngekuthandaza ukuthi nase basebikele bakaZulu vele sekutheni live lonke lakangwane nanalo lisale lingena emthandazweni lingena esizilweni esigabeni sekutheni lelanga njengoba selibekiwe lonke liswati liyawuvele libe kanye kanye nebakaZulu kuthandaza esigabeni sekutheni umkhosi wekubeka yona inkosi uhambe kahle kakhulu.
Umvana inkosi Mbongiseni webukhosi bakaZulu nguyeke lowethulele emakhosi elive lusuku loluphakanyisiwe lokubekwa kwayo inkosi iMisuzulu.
Egameni lesizwe samaZulu sithunywe ingonyama uMisuzulu kaZulu ithini ndunankulu wesizwe samaZulu umntwana wakaphinda ngene Ndlovukazi ugogo wabo uGwabini na yonke indlunkulu yesizwe samaZulu ukuba sizobika ukuthi nazi ingane zenu zihlambululwe sibike nomsebenzi ukuthi omhla ka29 kuzobe ikhona sibike Ndlovukazi nengonyama yesizwe samaZulu egameni lesizwe samaZulu. Singephike-ke wena wesilo hlanga lomhlabathi ukuthi ingane yakho le sikwagogo la umuntu mayizo kwagogo kufanele ukuthi afika abone ukuthi wenzekani bekuyilokho egameni lesizwe samaZulu nendlunkulu ukuthi sizobukela idlulamithi umnikazi wezwe usobhuzo ophilayo nogogo bakhe bonke ukuthi nayi ingane yakhe yabekwa namhlanje siyibulele isizwe samaZulu sayithengela sona umawaso kusamnikezwa inkosi usobhuza usobhuzo ophilayo sobikela ke wena njengosobhuzo ophilayo ukuthi nanga umntanakho uyophatha izwe lamaZulu umsebenzi oqala siwenzile sesibayeni uhambe kahle so umsebenzi wesizwe sonke nje namazwe angaphandle ibe khona sibonga amazwe enkosi ukuthi umama wena obuwasha amabhodwe wena obusishaya njengomake ukuthi sambe kahle bayede hlanga lomhlabathi.
Lubika kwethu indzabeni ngisandile Makhanya esigodlweni yeLutsitsini.
Indlovukazi imhlakazi seyiyale etikhulu ukuthi digweme umkhuba wekuthengisa umhlaba losewanzile eveni. Mhlakazi weMaswati ukhokhela umyalo ngesikhathi yabusisa tikhulu letinsha emcimbini lebobanjolo esigodlweni eLutsitsini. Tikhulu letibusisiwe yindlovu emhlaba ticubekele esigodlweni engabezweni lapho bekubheke khona ukuthi tibusiswe yingwenyama.
Indlovukazi Mhlekazi yethulelwe yaphinzi yabusisa abantu abenkosi netikhulu lababelinani lelingamashumi 5 baqhamuka etifundeni telive Dotine. Kuleti tikhulu letibusisiwe kubalwa letikhulu letisiphohlongo letisesikhwahlande. Tikhulu letibusiswe indlovu yemhlaba lesetethweswe umthwalo lomkhulukati tethule kuye Mhlekazi kwachaza nokuthi tithatha tindvuku tabobani kwethula nemabito latitawusebenta ngawo. Iniketwe isiqiniseko indlovu yemhlaba ukuthi tilandzeleke tonke timiso tesiswati kwahlungisiswa kwate kwaphuma labo lese bethulekiwe indlovu yemhlaba. Inkhundla-ke ivulwe ngekuthi kwethulwe inkosi yesive sakamamba Maloyi wesithathu lethethe tindvuku teyise Majawu wesibili. Lo msebenzi ube sesewuguquka ubalithuba lokuthi Mhlekazi weMaswati akhiphe umyalo aphindze akhuthathe dona tikhulu. Mhlekazi weMaswati uyaletikhulu ukuthi tingawungeneli umkhuba yokuthengisa umhlaba lethi indlovu yemhlaba ngumkhuba losewanzile eveni.
Ngawo ke ngoba lamuhla sitobusisa tinsika talelive sitiyawusima kulelive sesiyatifaka nje kulelive lelive tawusima lithi inkingani nalelive lingalithengisi yibe kunene yebo nani ngiyanikhalela nintami ngoba ungathi selingwemadzabudzabu seliyasikwa lemakhaya atisikwa titandi bekunene emakhaya thina ngeSiswati sakithi sathi ukuthi umuntu utata ukhonda akathengi lamhla sekusiwa kuyathengwa yebe kunene phela lendzaba lengikhuluma ko mina indzaba lesikhuluma ko la nabo bobabili abanye bangene ekhathi basike. Hawu bekunena lesewusiko emapulazi live.
Mhlekazi ukusateti khulu ukuthi tihloniphe tiphinze tihloniphe nesive digweme nekudla emanti ladvungekile ngalokweqile nokuthi tithi tiyemukela intuthuko kodwa ngenhlanye tente isiqiniseko sokuthi imihambo nemasiko yakulahleki.
Ngesiswati sakithi mawunikwa umthwalo lo njengalona uthi hamba ubheka sive usukubulewe. Ngoba lokubhekekiwe kuwe kubhekeke ukuthi weqala nje wena lo tawubuka lesive uqaleke nipha wena ngoba lesive singeke sikuhloniphe uma wena la ungahloniphi. Uma lesive usihlonipha sitakuhlonipha. Kodwa uma utawuphondla ubheke eceleni utawuva nje abantu bathi ngabasabekelwani nje na induni. Yabona mase bathi abantu ungisabekelwa ini. Shokusahambi ngalendlela. Nawe awukatiphathi kahle ngoba nyalo sekudingeke nitiphathe kahle nalapha bo hamba ngakhona noma ncene uhle uyahamba uyojayiva awusangeni.
Lo bambe kuba indvuna yaselitsitsini Themba Gininza uhambe emagameni amhlekazi wakuthatha tikhulu ukuthi tihloniphe sive ngaso sonke isikhathi.
Kepha nje kubhekeke ukuthi sive niyawusihlonipha kuze lesive naso sinhloniphe. Nelive niyawulihlonipha. Nelive litanihlonipha na. Inhlonipho lehamba embili nekwati ukuthi nibusiswe ngamakhosi. Makhosi ke abekwa uNkulunkulu akabekwa ngumuntu nje.
Bekubheke ukuthi tikhulu iqhubekele esigodlweni engabezweni kuyobusiswa silo semhlaba inkosi eMswati wesithathu. Lobika kwetindzabeni ngisandile Makhanya esigodlweni elitsitsini.
Uhulumende wakuleli udinga imali lelinganiselwa ku-100 million amalangeni kuvala kugedvuka kwemhlaba lokukhona lapha eveni. Lokuvetwe indvuna yelitiko letekuvakasha netindzaba temvelo Moses Velakade ngesikhathi iyeki yawubuka umsebenzi wokuvalwa koludvonga lebekadze lilinganiselwa ku-70 meters kushona phansi endzaweni yaseNgcayini ngaphansi kwenkhundla yakunkomo yahlaba.
Litiko letekuvakasha nemvelo lesekelela ummango ngaphansi kwesikhwama i-Environment Fund kuvala loludvonga lebekadze seliyingoti njengoba bese kucumukela imfuyo. Indvuna yaleli tiko Moses Vilakati beyiye kuyawudibonela kwekuthi lo msebenzi sewuhambe kangakanani.
Buka umsebenzi lomunye lesawu niketa imali lenganga 140,000 ukuthi basebenzile indzaba yalesigodzi lesi. Lesigodzi lesi besisigodzi lesikhulu lebese sibanga ukuthi kulimale tinkomo, timfuyo tabo netimbuti. Kugeduka ke lakithi sekuyinto lesifuna kuba sehlakalo. Nasibuka nje besibuka tibalo letithi livele ligedukile linganani. Seliyeta ku10%. Nasibuka imali letsingakalako ingetulu kwabo 100 million.
Albert Zubuko libamba lendvuna yeNgcayini uthi umsebenzi lo njengalona uyawuthuthukisa ummango.
Nesikhathi lesitheke kuphela imfuyo la digumkela nebantu bese besaba vele umuntu nje wesaba kusonzela kulo sisabela nebantwana.
Sihlalo walomsebenzi kulendzawo Amos Mdluli uthi sive besibambisene nelitiko kusasetshenzwa.
Siyakholwa ukuthi kumbe bekusesicalo salomsebenzi sisi ngalokuthi awukapheli na ubuka ngoba kungaba letele lide nasi ngawushiya unje njengoba kufanele ukuthi kukhave kwentiwe yonke leti ngcinamba vele sinato kakhulu ngoba litulu ngazi ukuthi lina la eNgcayini kakhulu ngoba mase liqale kuno umhlabathi ungahamba wonke.
Indvuna ikhutsata sive kwekuthi sidlale inzima yaso kuvala kugedvuka kwemhlaba. Etindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Nelson Wenhla ngamandla kunambongwa Dube yeNgcayini.
Inhloso yekukhulisa linani letivakashi letingena lapha eveni litiko letekuvakasha litawungenela umbukiso wetekuvakasha welive leMozambique kusukela mhla til-13 kuya kumhla ti-15 kuLesotulu. Indvuna yetekuvakasha Moses Vilakazi ichazile ukuthi leSwatini litawungenela lo mbukiso ngaphansi kwesivumelwano salamave sekuthuthukisa tekuvakasha i-Triland Agreement.
Ngenhloso yekutfutfukisa tekuvakasha kuleli litiko letekuvakasha litawungenela umbukiso wetekuvakasha wemalanga lamatsatfu eveni leMozambique. Indvuna yetekuvakasha ichaza kabanti kwekuthi leSwatini litawuzuza ini kulo mbukiso.
Nanathi sidabe sikubakhangisela ukuthi eSwatini abantu bangafike baboneni ngoba kulenza be-Triland sithi umuntu noma ufikele eMpumalanga akabe sute eSwatini agcine aphelele eMozambique. So sisebenzisa leyo route noma loyo mgubudla lokunye bathe batabe bakhombisa ngetindzaba tetindiza labatabe banato ukuthi bona sebaqale kuba ne-link nabo Emirates kokuthi nemaswati sangaye eMozambique aye Maputo akwati ukuthi nangabaya kubo Dubai noma ya kubo Asia. Lokunye ke bathi batabe bakhombisa nangekwekuthi tindvo letinhle bantu labangafike batithola eMozambique yini. Nguloko ke lesishelana kunaligwayi ngoba labakithi ema-operators kufuna ati ukuthi nasefikile lo muntu lathi hey sengifikile eSwatini hey nathi lapha sitahamba siye naseMozambique ngoba sesikhangisa lamave ungathi selive linye.
Ngenyanga yendlovu lenkhulu kulomnyaka libandla letekuvakasha i-Eswatini Tourism Authority libike kwekuthi kungakabhedvu kumkhuhlane i-COVID-19 tekuvakasha betifaka lokuthathwe ekhulwini emnothweni welive lokwehle kwefika ku-1.2% lokwenta litiko libuke tindlela tekukhulisa tekuvakasha kuleli. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelson Wendla ngamandla kunambongwa Dube Embabane. Mabhalane lomkhulu wetiko letemfundvo Bhekthemba Gama sewuncuse abafundzi nabatali ukuthi bacabangele lekusasa lebafundzi. Gama ukusho lokho kulandzela ukuthi emakolishi lehlukene kuleli ahlaseleke ngetindlela letahlukene kakhulu ngetikhatsi tekubhalwa kweluhlolo.
Ukunceka nje abantwana ukuthi sebatikhude nabo. Madabashi siyabona ayendeka esikoleni endeka nama-colleges. Angathi noma ne-hour yini we challenge kule mpicture. But now it's violent college, students are violent. But at the end of the day, we affect her and we are so because we know the effect here will come to the fore. Don't want to it's bar in about 5 to 10 years. No, so the kwanza sekune genge lengakafunzi. Ngoba nje nyalo na ubuka so ungafunda. Not because we just graduate, because the band have not reached the competence level. They graduate, and now whoever they are, challenge. And so I to get because it's safeguard standards of nebatali ekhathi sabakhulume nebantwana sabacabanga ukuthi imfundo ilikusasa lelive nemnotho welive.
Kutemidlalo likhethelo lesive lema-under 20 seliphumile endzebeni yalonyaka ye-COSAFA under 20 lechubekako lapha eveni ngemuva kokuthi lehluleke kutfola isikhundla selicembu lelikhethwe njengelicembu lelikhombe kudlala kahle i-second best leligcine litfolwa i-Angola leshaya i-Seychelles ngamagoli lasiphohlongo kulinye lekonde ukuthi ibe nemagoli lamanengi lango-12 kanti i-Eswatini yona inemagoli lasithupha.
Likhethelo lema-under 20 lakuleli seliphumile endzebeni ye-COSAFA yema-under 20 lichubekako lapha eveni kulandzela ukuthi lehluleke kukhethwa njengelicembu lelikhonile kutimisela ukuthi lingachubekela esigabeni sema-semifinals phecelezi second best. Kulama group lamathafu ngaphasi kwa group A iZambia ngiyo lehamba embili kanzi ngaphasi kwa group B kuneMozambique bese kuthi ngaphasi kwa group C kunelive leNingizimu Afrika. La maqembu lamathathu ngiwo laqhubekela esigabeni sama-semifinals kanzi bekudzingeka linye licembu lesine lelitawudlala kuwo ema-semifinals lapho khona lase-Eswatini belinawo amathuba lamahle ukuthi lingachubekela esigabeni lesilandelayo ngemuva ukuthi lishaye iMauritius ngamagoli 7 ecanzeni. Elanga lesithathu kube lilanga lelikhokhela ikusasa lelikhetho lesive leSwatini lapho khona uncobe kwe-Angola ngamagoli 8 kulinya nalishaya iSeychelles kwenta ukuthi kube nemaphuzu lasithupha kanye nemagoli la12 lokubita ukuthi kube ngiyo i-Angola lecubekela esigabeni sama-semifinals ngesizathu sokuthi lisenemagoli amaningi. Lokusho ukuthi ema-semifinals atawudlalwa ngalesihlanu kuleli viki lelisetulu atawubona iZambia itfolana etulu ne-Angola emidlalweni wokuqala bese kuthi emidlalweni wesibili iNingizimu Afrika itawutfolana etulu neMozambique. Le midlalo itawudlalela enkundleni yesive kasomhlolo. Emacembu lamabili atawuphumelela atawutfolana etulu kumancamo ngelisonto khona enkundleni yesive kasomhlolo. Lobiyelo umsakati Eswatini TV temidlalo ngilinda Dlamini kanzombiko uhlanganisa uMfabrice Msonera eMbabane.
Lobuke udlalisa umdlalo welibhola lemphebedo esifundeni saselibonjeni Njabulo Mpamali uthi budlelwane lobukhona emkhathini walenhlangano kanye nenhlangano ledlalisa lomdlalo eveni laseNingizimu Afrika butawusita kakhulu ekuthuthukiseni izinhlelo zokufundzisa abadlali labancane njengoba batfola njalo lithuba lekungenela imiqhudelwano khona eveni leNingizimu Afrika. Mpamali uvete lokhu kulandzela ukuthi kube nebadlali labathathu bakhona elibonjeni lababuya ePretoria kuyongenela umqhudelwano lowatiwa ngekuthi yi-Rainbow Under 10 Tennis Tournament.
Kulandzela budlelwane lobukhona emkhathini wenhlangano yemidlalo yemphebedo lapha eveni kanye naleyo yaseNingizimu Afrika kuthi live njalo lingamikisa abadlali balomdlalo ikakhulukazi labancane ukuthi bangenele imiqhudelwano yakhona eveni laseNingizimu Afrika. Live likhonile ke ukuthi kulempela somvo limikise abadlali ePretoria lapho khona bayongenela khona umqhudelwano lowatiwa ngekuthi yi-Rainbow Kids Tournament letodlala abadlali bema-under 10. Kulo mqhudelwano live limikise bantfwana bebafana labathathu kanye nemntfwana ntombazana munye. Njabulo Mpamali lobuke kudlalisa lemidlalo esifundeni saselibonjeni lobeka hambe naleli cembu uchazile ukuthi kunyende kakhulu labakufundzile kulena mdlalo.
Nasifike eSouth Africa sifike sakhanza ukuthi we are on the same level of standard of play which yokungelethe mina as a coach wase-Stegi Tennis Club ukuthi ngibe like I'm not far behind lokho lesikwendako, was just on the same level nabo. So ama-challenges esiba nawo kuvame ukuthi ukhanze ukuthi ema-tournaments they are like far from where lesuke sikhembe khona for accommodations. So ufuna ukuthi it's like we go previous days kakhona fike capture to the atmosphere of the place and isuke earlier for tournaments, and in the result of that ukhanze ukuthi wafika late kuma-tournaments you get a walkover, you end up not playing other games. But overall, we played so well because it's connected to question one, some of our players, which is really good for us. So we need to keep on practicing more, so we can gather more games in the future.
Lo mqhudelwano wesithathu longenela licembu leliqhamuka elibonjeni khona eStegi. Inhlangano ledlalisa umdlalo wemphebedo ithi lo budlelwane lobukhona kunale nhlangano ledlalisa umdlalo wemphebedo eNingizimu Afrika uyabasita kakhulu ukukhulisa lo mdlalo eveni. Lobikela umsakato weSwatini TV temidlalo ngiphathizwe Msibi umbiko ohlanganiswa nguFabrice Msonera kanti ithombe dibuya kuyo inhlangano ye-tennis.
Alatote imidlalo siyatephetsa tindzaba tefu silabahlole timakethe nasibuya silabe sikhuluma kabanti nge-International Day for Disaster Reduction naye baka NDMA.
I do the most. Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store.
We're good together. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007*3# and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Asibenzele sinemukele kulesikhathi sidabuka nje letulethamba embili kulamanye emave kanti ke inhlangano yaka Red Cross ebike kwekuthi ukutabane ma heat wave emaveni lamanengi lapha emhlabeni.
Change means the earth is only getting hotter, and according to the UN and the Red Cross, the consequences are now life-threatening. A joint report published Monday says heat waves will within decades become so extreme in parts of Africa and Asia that human life there will be unsustainable.
Devastating droughts like the one pushing Somalia to the brink of famine are made far deadlier when they combine with extreme heat. We can expect more of these in the future. Indeed, things are only going to get far worse as climate change continues to spiral out of control. Because in heat waves, it is this most vulnerable and marginalized people who will suffer, people already suffering from conflict, hunger, poverty.
The organisation said that between 2010 and 2019, 38 heat waves claimed the lives of over 70,000 people. They also predicted future death rates from heat disasters would be as high as those from cancer or infectious disease. Both bodies now urge countries to take aggressive steps that could alleviate the worst effects of heat disasters, including providing early warning systems to people and authorities, training for local level responses, and investing in the most at-risk regions to help them cope.
Wealthier countries have the resources to help their people adapt and have made promises to do so. Poorer countries who are not responsible for these torturous heat waves do not have those resources.
The report was released ahead of next month's COP27 climate change summit in Egypt, where it's expected 2022's climate disasters will be hot on the agenda.
Megameli welive lasemelika Joe Biden sovete ukuthi live lase Saudi Arabia litoba nemthelela lomubi kulandzela ukuthi bancamule ukukhiqidwa kwa-oyili.
They met in July with the US President Joe Biden in a rapprochement with Riyadh and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. That relationship has now turned sour. Washington is angry at last week's decision by the Saudi-led OPEC cartel and its Russian-led allies, what's called OPEC Plus, to cut oil output by 2 million barrels per day in a bid to increase prices. The White House now says it will re-evaluate Saudi ties.
In light of recent developments and OPEC Plus's decisions about oil production, that the president believes that we should review the bilateral relationship with Saudi Arabia and to take a look to see if that relationship is where it needs to be and that it is serving our national security interests.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Saudi Arabia defied US warnings. Riyadh dismissed American officials who said the output reduction would be perceived as siding with Russia in a new blow to relations. Vladimir Putin, meeting UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan for talks in St. Petersburg, said OPEC Plus's actions were simply about creating market stability.
I know your position. Our actions, our decisions, are not directed against anyone. We are not doing this to create problems for anyone. Our actions are aimed at creating stability in the global energy markets.
The OPEC snub, aside being seen as a diplomatic slap in the face, raises fears of higher prices at the petrol pump. The production cut will begin next month, with surging global energy prices already causing huge problems for governments and consumers worldwide.
Asgasitibeka lapho letamba embili kulamanye emave House asalkhefu nasibuya sita besikhulumisana na Eric Sayama losuka ka NDMA.
do the most. Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store.
We're good together. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Asifundze sekumukele ubukela hlelo Kusile Professional sakuvusela nawe lo sanza kusivulela ngalesikhathi lamuhla lokuthi 13 umhlaba wonke kuba lisuku le-International Day for Disaster Reduction lilanga ke leli leku acknowledge imitamo lento yabohulumende bayemave emhlaba kuzama kunciphiseni ema disasters la yabangwe domiso noma ke gugucuka kwesimo selitulo langa lelikhulukeleli sesivule sinaye lapha director wehlangothi lwaka early warning ngane NDMA National Disaster Management Agency kuva kabanti nje imitamo la yenda kohulumende kuzama konke isiqiniseko sokuthi kuba bede ema disasters la hamba nemphefumulo sinaye baba Eric Sayama losuka khona ka NDMA sakuvusela baba siyama sibonga kakhulu ukuthi ube nathi lo mhla ehlilweni kumbe kusichazela nje ukuthi siyadlo ukuthi namuhla nanendaba nelicommemorate lelanga as NDMA kusinetha stromise ukuthi nasikhuluma nge disaster reduction sithini kahle kahle.
No, siyabonga umsakazi. Sivusele nemlaleli ekhaya nembukeli. Sho ukuthi lilanga lela namuhla libitwa International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. Lagagulwa noma lababalwa ngomhlabuhlangene i-UN General Assembly kuthi every nanga 13 October emhlabeni akube lilanga lapho sikhumbutana khona ngenzabade kudedehlakalo. Sho ukuthi ke namhlanje nangilole lisuku njengaloku shito lokuthi lizama ukuthi injongo yalo ukuthi si raise awareness ngetindzaba dabo disaster nabo disaster risk reduction ukuthi sidehlakalo singadehlisa kanjani phinde sitiphunge kanjani kuze kuthi ukhanze ukuthi impilo emhlabeni ingileyo lenhle lekhanza ukuthi ayisihlukumedi. Siyathi ke ukuthi ke dehlakalo dikhona lesingete sakhona kusiletinye siyakhona ukutivikela letinye sikhoni kepha ke kunendlela lethi uma sathi sitholelo lwadi ngesikhathi ngalesehlakalo sisadle sehlakalo siyakhona lokuthi sendele daba sende amaplan sende indlela etitsite nemigomo lesenda ukuthi singakhona ukuthi sinciphise kumbe bungoti bato noma kusihlukumeda kwaleso sehlakalo. Lelanga ke lamuhla noma kulomnyaka kune divumelwano kamhlabuhlangene njengaloku shito lokuthi kuna lokubanga kakhulu kulamalanga lesikubona ukuthi ku driver ngidawucolisela ukuthi ndawo hlengifaka singisi loku i-driver lenkulu yedehlakalo siyakuthola lokuthi ngilokuguquka kwesimo selitulu ngaphandle kwaletinye singakhumbula nje venda kangwane etikhathi eminyakeni lemunye lemibili lendlulile ukuthi sibe nedehlakalo letingi letfaka ekhathi i-COVID-19 leke solo sisizama kulwa nayo emhlaba wonke kwaphenze kwaqhamuka bo tropical cyclone bo Idai basibangela inkinga letinengi phinze kwaba nema storms nakini eminyakeni lophelile ehlobo leliphelile lokhanze ukuthi nalo tabo lama storms alimete kakhulu alimata tikolo nje ngokukhumbula kamanzini phinze kwaba nemililo nangilephusika lesifika kulesuka kubo nabo khanza ukuthi bayasibangela leto tinkinga kanye nalesikhanza ukuthi titi nangidehlakalo leti khanza ukuthi kumbe dibangwa ngithi lesingabe kuswa ukuthi sibangwa ngumuntu njengasele kuthiwa human induced nangene ema disasters just like lekusibonile makusuka civil disturbance event ukuthi kubange umonakalo longanani nalokho. So leminyaka ke lomnyaka kunale kusilete development emhlaba lekuthiwa bo sinangi nje sibekisa kusenda i-framework le framework lesebenza emhlaba wonke lenangi lesigayidako noma isita bohulumende netinhlangano lebohulumende labatebekile tekulwa lehlakalo ukuthi bafanele banake ini kuzokhanze ukuthi emaveni abo bayakhona lokuthi idehlakalo abatakhi ngoba letinye tehlakalo takhiwa ngithi ngekwenda kwethu letinye tiyanakela ukhanza ukuthi mangenda info letside usengibanga sehlakalo ngoba ence khona ema shortcuts lengwendile ngangayindisisi lento nekuthi ke ence ngendiswe ukuthi angadi bese ukhanza sekubanga lokho so lo mnyaka lona ke lo lesula namuhla lo coincide nekuthi sithatha stoko ngoba le Sendai framework it's 2015 2030 so inema targets lang 4 nema indicators lang 38 lo khanza silama indicators ayathelelana nabo Paris Agreement ayathelelana futhi nabo Sustainable Development Goals lesibekwe kwimigomo yemihlaba ukuthi singathuka kanjani ngoba ihlalo matendeka dilimata kakhulu intuthuko phinde dilimate nje kuphina dihlumete kuphila kwemuntu enangeni angumuntu nemvelo kanye lento lenango yonke ecosystem laphila nayo ngoba ngemali lapha kwanya.
Okay, njengoba ushudo nje babe siyamala ukuthi sitibonile vele tehlakalo desivelela lapha eSwatini ngetizafudato tangcotho lokubanga ukuthi bamfubonakalelwe tindlu tabo ingabe vele mhlawumbe enganani idata noma ke mhlawumbe iresearch leseniyendile ezilibandla kubuka nje tindlela leti ngavikelwa ngato letehlakalo ushudo kona ukuthi tikhona vele leto lesingesikhona ukuthi ivikela but ngethemba ukuthi kukhona mhlawumbe letinye leti ngakhona kuvikelwa enganani mhlawumbe iresearch leseniyendile kubuka ukuthi no nathi timvule singadenda kuzama kuvikela tehlakalo letitsite
tehlakalo letinkulu nje mangabala lethi mativela tisilimate kakhulu somiso kangwane ma floods ma tropical silahambela nabo tropical cyclones nama storms ehlobo imililo nalabo hailstorm nabo ama storms lokho ayavama kuba khona ngesikhathi bese kuba nemililo level nang levama kuba khona ngesikhathi ngaphandle kwalawo khanza usendo abantu kuze sikhone ukuthi sinciphise bungoti baloko indledlana letinengi letinye tikhanza tifaka ekhatsi ukuthi sifuna sitati kahle letehlakalo sit understand phinde sikhona ukufundisa ema communities ukuthi sitha lesehlakalo sinjani siyakhanza ukuthi lokunye lokubanga ukuthi ukhanza sibantu kuyabaleka imnanga sihlalo matendeka noma bungoti mabendeka kusilimade ukhanza ukuthi kungadi so siyakhanza sinanga sibukile sabona ukuthi tihlalo letinkulu ngileti so sathi zama lokuthi sikhulise iunderstanding sitokhona ukuthi phinza sifundise lemakhaya ngoba makwendeka lesehlakalo silimata umuntu alonanga lokhanza ukuthi ule phasi asivame kulimata kwegcineni ukhanza siloku bakulima lo muntu le phasi kuba nemthelelo lokhanza ukuthi uyawugcina sekuvela emnothweni ukuthi akusakhona kunako ilival sakhona kuphila ngoba libala ukuthi li-invest kunenzawonye so standard inhlelo letitsite singumende nje utendele inhlelo akhanza ukuthi uyatigcinisa inhlelo ukuthi asukumise lona letiko lekuthi alulelehlakalo litokhona lokuthi likhanze lokuthi liyayikhona ukuthi lihambise lelivangeli lekuthi tehlalo ngativikela kanjani ngutiphi letehlakalo leti khona siyathi ke ukuthi ke lokukhulu lesinako ukuthi langilivela kithi noma njengalama imavela sathuthuka kukoleka idata akusiyo info lokhanze ukuthi siyayisebenzisa kakhulu siyakwadi kona but ukhanze ukuthi sikubo ukhanze sikuyendeka ngoba nje endemeka ngiyasho ukuthi akusiyo le obviously letsala kakhulu libe nenkinga usikhanze ukuthi tehlakalo ticala lonyaka kathi tacala so kuze ukhona ukuthi understand kahle kufuna ukuthi ube le data linengi lesuka emuva utokhwala ukuthi usuko kwendeka lokhu la kwendeka lokhu tosima uqhamuka ukuthi uyakubona ukuthi kuveta isithombe lento noma sinhloko letsidi ubese uyakhona ukuthi ungacaba ungakhumbula ukuthi uma ngibuyele emuva kwalimata kangaka lokho so nyalo ngoba thina sesishintshile nebantu sebanengi ngoba khaza simakwendeka leso sikhathi nje kube sengathi ngadomwena 1984 ipopulation yakangwane beyincane idevelopment yakangwane beyincane but the same akunange into lefana nadomwena uma ingathi yabuya manje ukhanza ukuthi lokulimala kwayo ukulimata kwayo kungaba kukhulu ngoba intuthuko seyisembili livela kithi alisasilo njalo kadzeni so kufuna ukuthi ube nayo but ube nayo le data kutobona ukuthi uma bekungaka ngalesa sikhathi umonakalo ungaba nganani nyalo kuyaphambili njengoba ngishito lokuthi lokunye lesekwendile ukuthi sizama kunangeni lelanga nje sizama ukuqinisa kakhulu ukuthi inzaba dabo early warning njengaloku sathi lokuthi khona vele intinang tehlalo singeke sitivimbe kustendeke kodwa uma sikhona ukuthi sabala le information early siyakhona ukuthi sibike ukuthi kukhona lokuyeta lokukhulu bese lo muntu ngamunye uyakhona ke lapho kusina endetaba netindlela ukuthi uma kufika alungiselele bese uyakhona nje ngibekise kuthi makuthiwa nje kudazamtolo ngiyabekisa nanowa eBhayibhelini kuyavela ukuthi wakha umkhumbi lolwakha lomkhumbi labangena lamkhunjini basinza kodwa labo khanza ukuthi bahlala babazange wakhukhula lomkhumbi so lama warnings into kanjalo ukuthi ulungiselele wathi ukuthi kukhona lokutako kutawusi makufika umkhanze ngilungiselele so that into simakufika ukhanze ukuthi mangabe ngakalungiseleli ukuthi awukhanze ukuthi angibangela inkinga lenkulu than lokhanze ukuthi angathi lutho.
Yeah, wayithinda ke indzaba yazami ngicela ngifuna kubuya la kulehlelo noma umkhankaso lebene uchuba ngiyakhumbula ukuthi seke sahlaselwa dimvula ematima I think the past 2-3 years and ining NDM yena sokumisa umsebenzi ukuthi inida wakhela sive semaswati tindlu letita ubhekana netimvula noma ke netimo delitulu leti matima ingabe vele mhlawumbe ukuva nje ukuthi leyo msebenzi loyo wahamba kanjani nekuthi yini vele lesingayenda thina simango noma ke ama individuals kuzama nje ukuthi ilungiselela for dehlakalo.
Ngiyabonga nake dehlakalo mathi ngisho ukuthi matendeka dilimata intuthuko ngoba sibantu siba netifiso sibe nemisebenzi lesisendayo siyakuyenda ukuthi manje ngiphile ngibe ngcono so netindlu lesitakhako kuba khona lo ukuthi uma letindlu dingekho dingakagcini ngibekise nje ukuthi uyabona eSwatini sekucishe kungconywana ukuthi indlu eningi akusuthi indlu lelisaka kodwa lokhanza ukuthi bekunanti kukhona indlu lelisaka uma kufika indzaba yenakeni yaboza intima elitule eliningi noma lefana nabo zamtolo ukhanza ukuthi lolizaka ngoba lona lokhanza ukuthi lokwendekako leyawabutha lamandi bese ligcina ngwalokumhlabathi seligcina selubamandi sekwenza ukuthi sekulula lokudzilika ngoba sekuthi lokubambako kanti mawakhe ngendlu lesitini uyakhanza lokuthi cha la lesitini lomalina lelitulu alimunyi lamandi lesiwamunyi lamandi so ayageleta nje atsela ngaphandle ukuthi ke mawakhe kabi lengaphasi bese ukhanza ukuthi seka erodeka la ngaphasi seyawa lendlu kodwa akukavami so ngazi ngangeni makufika lelitulu lo tropical cyclone edayi dinengti umonakalo wendekile emakhaya nasetigozini letiningi besingasho ukuthi sakhahlelo lokuthi siyawuvusa kodwa ngalokuthi vele siyade ukuthi bantu mawulimele ukhanza ukuthi labanye abakhona ukuvuka so uhulumende ke nangene kuthuma NDMA usithumile lokuthi asambe siside sivuse sibambisene nje inhlangano lesibambisana nato njengemasoja sivuse lawo makhaya lokhanza ukuthi bantu sebalale ebaleni sidakhile ke indlu I think etigozini letiningi noma ngayiphasi le data usakhe ngakho kodwa thiya nangicishe sesi lohlelo libe sivusela ngalo labantu selicishelwa ngasemaphethelweni ngoba belungafaki kuphela nje emananga indlu dasemakhaya belifaka ikhazi nenangi nemabhlongo ngoba uhulumende wakhazi bakwendeka lokhu wase kuba ngase usehlakalo wase uyamcela endemi ukuthi akabambisane nelitiko lelifanele nematiko lafanele ukuthi kusetshenziswane tosheshe usisimo sikhona kubela esimeni lesingiso umnotho khona ukuchubeka ukhithideke.
Okay, so ngifuna sikhulume nje nangendzaba ye-early warning lokho wayithinza nje babe seyama siyadloko ukuthi vele wena ubukela ihlangothi lelo kahle kuva nje ukuthi ngabe sime kuphi thina silive leSwatini kona siqiniseka ukuthi emaswati ayitfola le warning ngaphambi kokuthi kube nalesehlakalo ngabona nje ka Facebook ukuthi nihle nisifakela le early warning bulletin I think lokho kusita bona abalimi ukuthi bangale manini isikhathi lesikanjani niphindze nibakhulumise nangaloko ingabe vela mhlawumbe kuchazela ukuthi sambe kanganani kulelo hlangothi lolo.
Indzaba early warning ithi ngale definition yayo le ideal noma ke lengathi nje isebenta kahle ngilolo khanza ukuthi akusilo maybe umuntu noma ngasini inhlangano yinye lenda konke kuba ulubanjiswano but phinze kubela lokuthi nale data i-available yini nalokuthi ukhanza ukuthi niyawati niyadata letimo lenibhekana nato nekuthi manidata letimo lenibhekana nato nibe nalabantu endondweni ukuthi bobani labantu laba ukhanza ukuthi uma kwendeka lokhu ukuthi abathinza livela kithi ke sitawukhumbula lokuthi siyathi lokuthi linebantu everywhere but labantu abafanani basi amandla abo akafanani so lokhanza lokuthi yes sikhona siyawutama lolanga letaba ukuthi siyikhiphe le early warning kepha ke isengafiki kahle ezingeni lesingathi cha iyagculisa ngoba nanyalo nje silolo lokuthi kuze kuphephe namuhla kuswe asesikhuluma lendzaba ka early warning ngulokuthi mhlaba wonke kukhanzakile lokuthi no le timo lendlela leta ngayo tina lokuthi ema early warning systems emave cishe laba onke akasiwo lasezingeni lesitoba leqala ukuthi ngiyasathi lesimone ngibhekene naso ngiyasinaka ngiyasibukhona ngikusimonitor ngisimonitor ngoba lesinye mase nje le environmental noma loku climate related akwendeke ukuthi kutawendeke emini bese ebusuku sekuyema akulali kona kuhlala kuqhubeka so ufuna lo muntu unkhona ukugadza cishe isikhathi sonke ngemzuzu ngikhona ukuthi maka bekushintsha shape ngithi no sekukhona sekashintsha ke manje ngoba kukhona lokhona lo muntu lo lekumendela kona akhanze ukuthi lesikhahle lata ayithola ngaso lo mlayeto ukahle kakhulu ukuthi angakhona ukuthatha iaction letamenda ukuthi aphephe lokufaka ikhathi ke nani betindzaba ukuthi ndani banababhali betindzaba noma emisakato banelichazele ukuthi in the early warning cycle bavele bananga babe khona so sike sengasengangwane sizazama lokuthi sakhe lemigomo ibe kahle ukuthi siyinithe kahle lento ukuthi wonke umuntu noma ngimuphi ngoba siyathi ukuthi sinebantu abahlukene kunalabadzala kunebantwana kepha ukwazi ukuthi njalo kusho ukuthi wabona social media nje wena ukhwalote le social media engcenye lo muntu lo akhanza ukuthi siyayibona le ndzaba but ukhanza ukuthi le nkinga kodwa akakhona ukuyithola ngoba lama channels lesicommunicate ngawo mancane so but silive siyadama kakhulu ukuthi asiyende lendzaba early warning ithi isiyende ukuthi siyiphakamise nathi bantu bonke eveni ukhanza ukuthi noma ngibani lo 1 million plus ukhanza ukuthi we are able to capture at least 95% of le information noma le iyakhona kufika kibo ikhona ukuthi basitakale baphephe.
Okay, seselapho nje babe siyama sibonile ukuthi kuleli viki nibe nemhlangano sikolwa i systemic risk assessment in Eswatini ingavela mhlambe inhloso yalo mhlangano sikolwa loyo bobini bohambisana musi nathi indzaba early warning.
Iqiniso sibelo uyahambisana ngoba ngilapho nje ukuthi le systemic risk ithi lento uma lesehlakalo sendekile sivama esikhathini esiningi ukubuka lokuthi sibulele noma nje kubekisema kusweje kube nekutamatama lo lesikakufuni first ubuka lokuthi kubulele na indlu lesihleti kuyo kodwa ukhanze ukuthi uma sesibuka ngoba tiyathi nemthelela letinto letinye tiyangetelana letinye lisa ngathi liselisondlo tiyagicika ukuthi makwendeka lokho uma kuwa lendlu le kufanele bese ngiyabuka ukuthi kutawubulala ini ngeke bulale nje kusitaba nge 10 million ukubulala le physical le infrastructure la but awukhanza ukuthi sidabe sesibade ukuthola tindzaba uma sesithe ukuthola tindzaba ngesikhathi sekubanga lenye tinkinga futhi endasi lo ungayithola indzaba so tawenda njani utawukhanza ukuthi suyalahleka lokulahleka kwakhe kuphinze kubanga lenye inkinga ukuthi sekufuna ukuthi uinvest lenye imali yekuthi uzame ukuthi ucorrect lo muntu lo ngasathi manje sokulahlekile sokuphila edlani so lebese kwenda besizama lokuthi sikhulise le risk understanding ngoba siyathi lokuthi njalo uvete ukuthi uze sikhone kwenda le early warning system kufanele siqale lapha emuva sithi do we understand our risk, do we understand in totality noma usiyakho ukuyibheka le ukhanze usuyabona zayi lena ngilengoti kulenkinga le kepha ke seyifuna ukungishintshela libala lena ngilenkinga le itimthela lonje so umuntu okhona ukuthi ngibambe yonke ngakhona kuyibamba yonke kuyi-understand yonke ngidawukhona ke lapho ukuthi le early warning system yami ngoba ngidabe ngathola itabehlupha abani lenkinga ukuphi unjani ugogo umntwana ngulonjani empilweni ephileni kwemuntu nephileni kwelive.
Okay, nokuyavakala kugcina nje babe siyama kepha namhlanje ngoba kungelelo nje lelanga nitaba nili commemorate nibambisene nama stakeholders.
Si commemorate nje namuhla sise Royal Villas sibitile ama stakeholders la khona nalabanye la kwanza kusata ukukhuluma nawo lekufaka ikhathi bona betindzaba bataye bakhuluma nabo lokuthi okay bona lichaza bangadlala kanjani ukuthi si-improve ngoba sibambisene sonke kule early warning space betindzaba bathini kumbe nebalimi nalabantu ebalimi utafika khuluma ukuthi okay ukhanza ukuthi le early warning system noma information ihamba kanjani inga-improve yini lesingakwenda noma ikuliphi izinganyalo yini lesingakwenda silive ukhanza ukuthi kutawusita ukuthi si-improve ema programs ekuyaphambili sinabo nebakanake bona abanye inhlangano esibambisana nato ekulweni nedehlakalo lesitawubona nabo kusibona singakhona kuhlangana kanjani sikhona ku-increase le collaboration ne-coherence so that listokhona ukuthi masikhipha le information bantu bayethemba bathi ukuthi siyikhiphile silive simele uhulumende ingiyo lena asiyethembe sikhona ukuthi sithathe action le appropriate nebantu bakhona sibathathe action le appropriate emakhaya nalapho bakhona khona.
Alright, nokevakala sibanga kakhulu babesema kuba nathi lomhlahlelweni mbukeli bese ixoxisana naye director ehlangothini lwaka early warning ebandleni la National Disaster Management Agency njengoba lamhla umhlaba ukubhaye lilanga le International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. Asibahlele market test awu yasichubeke nehlelo. Hlelo.
Boy, quickly jump off and go queue over there while I go get cash from the bank.
Ugh, Mom, but you know how much I hate queues. Can we do it some other time, please? Plus, if we do this, we're gonna be late for the movie.
I'm afraid this is not negotiable. Today is the deadline, so we really have to go pay. Otherwise, we won't have...
Mom, wait a minute. You know, I just remembered something.
Wow, who would have thought? Where did you get that? How does it work?
My friend from school told me that his dad no longer sends him to pay for their water bill. He had his own Play Store. All we need to do is sign in.
Boy, look at you, my little genius.
Yes, the mamzo. Pumetelezin. Dila.
Download the Eswatini Water Services Corporation app today. Available on Google Play and App Store. You will also be able to view your monthly balance, efficiently make payments, make service applications and terminations, report faults, submit feedback or complaints, and update your account information easily. For more info, call us on our toll-free number 800 5000 or WhatsApp 7806 5000 or dial *5000#. Hashtag Pumetelezini. Hashtag Dila. Tag Dila. Tag Dila. Tag Dila.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007*3# and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Simini sikuthi shaya insimbi esiphohlongo lomhlekiseni sita ukuchubeka nedindzaba tetfu lethamba imbili kulamanye emave. Inhlangano yakamhlaba UN General Assembly seyigceke sento selive leRussia lekuhlasela emadolobha kanye netifundza letiningi eveni lase-Ukraine.
Russia vetoed a similar condemnation in the UN Security Council. The General Assembly on Wednesday, however, had a vote on a resolution condemning Russia's annexations in Ukraine. 143 nations were in favor and 5 were against. 35 abstained, including China, India, South Africa and Pakistan.
Draft resolution
That despite a major US diplomatic effort to seek clearer condemnation of Moscow.
Adopted.
Russia's actions have no place in our modern world. That is why this resolution calls for peace, and it calls for de-escalation. But it also makes clear that we reject Russia's attempted annexations.
And now I give the floor to the distinguished representative of China.
China's deputy representative to the UN condemned those focusing on ideological differences, forcing countries to take sides.
The crisis in Ukraine shows once again that clinging to the Cold War mentality and bloc politics, creating bloc confrontation and pursuing absolute security will not bring peace, but will only lead to conflicts which serve no one's interests.
Russia rejected the resolution's demand to reverse the annexations, saying Western states were pursuing their own geopolitical goals. The result of this vote was not wildly different to the one on the 2nd of March, calling for an immediate ceasefire and Russian troop withdrawal. The vote then was 141 in favor and 5 against, with 35 abstentions, compared to the 143 in favor of this latest resolution.
I thank the distinguished.
This was, however, the strongest support from the General Assembly for Ukraine and against Russia so far.
We have heard the last speaker.
Asike netinkulungwane tebantfu eveni lase Pakistan babonakele bateleka kulandzela kokuthi kube nemumvu lebakaphethe spam losikhombe evenini yebantfa lebelayishe bantfa besikolwa ngemsombuluko.
School children are once again in the firing line in Mingora, hometown of Nobel Prize winner Malala Yousafzai. Protesters in Pakistan decried Monday's attack, in which a gunman fired on a school van, leaving the driver dead and a child critically injured. In their midst, the body of the slain school bus driver.
We are protesting because the attack has destroyed our peace and tranquility. The future of our children is at stake. We call on the government to bring peace.
There's been dozens of Taliban attacks in the area in recent weeks, raising fears that militant violence has once again become the norm in this deeply conservative region not far from the Afghan border. Tuesday marks 10 years since Malala Yousafzai, then a 15-year-old student, was shot in the head in the same city on her way to school. She'd been targeted by the Pakistani Taliban, also known as the TTP, for campaigning for girls' education. A military crackdown in 2014 put paid to the insurgency. Though the TTP has denied responsibility, this fresh attack adds to fears of a resurgence.
Today, under the nose of heavy security forces and the presence of the army, a school van was fired on. This points out a massive security breach. We want the attacker to be arrested and punished.
Private schools in the Swat Valley have been closed since the attack, and teachers have vowed to strike on Wednesday.
2 minutes before 8 o'clock, siriphethe lapho ke lethamba embili kulamanye amave sesenvalelisa sibonga kakhulu ukuthi nibe nathi lo mhlehlelweni sesamba ukuthi indaba nolusuku loluhle nalolubusisekile sanibona kusasa nisale kahle.